Hey everybody, this is Carlos Ocelot, founder and CEO of G2 Esports, former professional gamer, and wonderful bodybuilder, as you may have known. Of course, you know me for that, pretty sure. And you're watching Dancan's channel. Thorin, my man. Enjoy.
Right, I'm here for another episode of Reflections, and my guest for this one is going to be Trick, who is a two-time MVP of the EU LCS, now known as the LEC, obviously, and has played in Europe as a region for a number of years. So Trick, one thing I want to start with in this interview is obviously you are Korean, and you originally were playing in Korea. It was actually the first season when they made the LCK, was when you were on CJ Entus. Pretty famous team. If people don't know, this was the team still when they had players like Ambition, but actually he'd switched to become a jungler, and you were like the other jungler with him, right? On this team, I know in a lot of Korean teams, they have like a sub player or practice partners, and you can sometimes get a game, but it's up to the coach whether you get to actually be a proper player and start the proper, OGN games, etc. What was it like to be in CG Entus? Like, do you ever think you could have become the main player for the team? Did you have problems or something? Was it just that Ambition was more experienced? What would you say about your time in this team?
I think when I'm in CJ Entus, we have a sub team like which member was Helper and me and BDD and Ghost and Max. But I think coach is thinking about the main roster. They thinking like most experienced player better than substitute player. So that's why I can't become a main jungler. So I think that's why they didn't use me.
The players you just listed there, some of those are obviously famous players now, like Ghost, obviously, and Damwon, etc. Like, was this actually like a good practice team?
Yeah, I think it was a really good team, and like even at that time, we won against main team like quite a lot. So I think we were on good team.
How did this move come about where you came to Europe and you ended up joining G2? Like, this obviously at the time, I mean, it's not even that common now that Korean players go to LEC, it was very rare, for example, when Gorilla came. So how did you end up coming to Europe?
First of all, I did streaming in Korea, and someone came to me, like which agency, and that guy told me like, you wanna play LEC or LPL? So I chose LEC instead of LPL. Because I think like I want to study English, and I think Europe better than any other region at that time.
You weren't concerned about, like, I'm sure you could make a lot more money playing in LPL at the time?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I think 2 times better than LEC salary.
That didn't matter to you though?
Like that time I was really young, so I don't care about money, and I care about success.
When you came to G2, a lot of people I've noticed, they forget and they think that because you and Perkz won the 4 championships in a row, I think in their brains, they think the first team was the one with Sven and Mithy and, those players that they remember. They forget that the first team was the one with, like, Kikis changed to top lane, the bot lane was players. Now they probably don't even remember, like, Emperor, Hybrid, like, people that were left in the team after the first split. For this first one, these were basically nearly all inexperienced players. Like, Kikis has some experience, but he was a jungler. Perkz obviously is nobody. He's just come into the league. If people remember, this particular team wasn't maybe a favourite to win LEC. I'm sure some people thought maybe it's just a playoff team. Maybe it's just okay. What do you think the first G2 team was like? Did they seem inexperienced?
Oh no, I think like we actually only Emperor have experience, and Emperor and Kikit have experience, but like other players don't have experience. But when we do Scream, and we almost won every game. So after that, I feel like maybe we can make a LEC final. I mean, at that time, LCS EU.
Yes. In this team, I don't know if you know this, but most of the players I've talked to who were in this team, and your coach, even Youngbuck, they all give you a lot of credit, actually. They say that, like, you really helped some of the other players understand how to play the game, like, what map movements to make and stuff. Do you feel like, even though you hadn't had that much actual stage time yourself, were you a player who understood the game already?
Because I think I have a really good experience in CJ. They have a really good player, so I can watch it every time when they're screaming like what is good partying, what is good map movement, and I learn a lot of from them. So that's why I think I did good job in early season.
Did you have a special connection with Perkz? It seemed like on the map you two were always making movements together.
I think 2016 spring split, like we don't have like that much connection, but I don't know, like we are just good players, so that's why I think we win.
When this first split happened, you obviously won the MVP award, and then the next split as well, you also won the MVP award. Now, I don't know if you know this, but because there's a really weird piece of information, which is that despite everyone says Perkz is amazing, he's actually never won an MVP award. He hasn't even won even when he was in LCS now. So actually, some people I know, they think that like maybe he should have won one of these, you know, or like whatever. Were you the best jungler at the time? Do you think you deserved this award? Were you the best player in the LEC?
Yeah, I think so because I think Perkz is inconsistent at the time, but I'm always like doing good job, so I should be get MVP. I think.
When the Sven and Mithy came to this team from OG, the bot lane, and joined up, and the team kind of became the team most people now know was that G2 squad, a lot of people, like I was saying in the first team, they were giving a lot of credit to you because these are, you know, some of these other teammates are rookies. They were giving a lot of credit to Mithy in this team and say like he brought like, you know, the mental approach and some of the ways you played the map. This is how you were able to like start winning against Koreans, etc. Do you have similar thoughts? What was it like to play with Mithy?
Oh yeah, BT have so many knowledge, so we actually learn from them. He he was a coach, I think. So yeah, I mean we learn from him a lot, I think.
Because, I mean, one thing I noticed when I did interviews with players in this team is they said he was one of the first people to understand the concept that everyone uses that word tempo for. It's like this became the big thing, you know, everyone kept saying that every single broadcast. Was this actually like a key understanding?
Yeah, I think he was I think 100% understand like tempo, what is tempo is it. So he can study like everything about tempo. I mean he can teach.
One thing I want to ask you was, if you look over your career, you have played a lot of the champions that can be called like the mechanical champions. You know, you're supposed to have a lot of high skill to do this. Most people don't think of Trick and say, you know, he is like the crazy. They don't think of you like Tian from FPX. You're not some crazy mechanical player. How do you describe your playing style? What is the Trick way of jungling?
I think before is when Mythicon came, and I played a lot of like Graves or Nidalee and aggressive champion. But after that, as when Mythicon, I didn't have to carry all of game because like my bottom is crazy at the time. So I changed. Suddenly I changed my game style to cover play or defensive play. So that's why everyone thinking about that. But I think I'm good at aggressive play style too.
When in season 7, you guys had the really nice run at the mid-season invitational, you made it to the final, you got to play at SK Telecom, right? As someone who is Korean yourself, and you were trying before in CJ to become a pro player in LCK, was it a big deal for you to be able to go to a big international final and play against most famous Korean team ever, basically?
Yeah, especially SKT. At that time was like really best team, so I want to beat them, and I want to meet against SK2, SKT, and finally, like I actually meet SKT. So I mean, was happy and like grateful for myself.
One of the things about this time in G2 that was a bit sad was you had these 2 world championships. The first one, like, you just have to be fair. Obviously, the team did badly.
Yeah.
You know, on paper, you are supposed to get out of the group, not the wild card team. But the second one is the one that I think is the harshest one, because this was the one where we just didn't know at the beginning of the tournament. You actually had 2 of the best teams in your group. You know, you actually had really like the hardest group overall. I've heard stories that like This one is the one where like you should have been able to get out of the group. You should have been in the playoffs this time around, even against these teams. What did you think?
Yeah, I think like in like 2017 Worlds, I think we're doing scream really well, and we have a really good confidence. But I think we didn't practice very well, like at macro wising. So I think that was problem. But I think we could win against Samsung or Orange too.
Who do you actually think during this time you were in G2? Who was your main rival as a jungler? Who was the jungler in LEC or EU LCS? Who do you actually think was good?
Always Youngbuck, because yeah, I mean everyone thinking about Youngbuck or Trick is best Europe jungler. So that's why I'm thinking about Youngbuck.
If you beat him and if your teams beat his, does that mean you were better than him?
Yeah, I like. At the time, I thought I'm the best. Nobody can like compare to me.
After this period, when you won 4 championships in a row, like no one's ever even done that in EU LCS. Like that was a record at the time. Why does Trick not stay in G2 after that? Why did you go back to Korea?
First of all, like before I joined EU, I mean at G2, I promised myself after I success in EU, I will come back to Korea, and I want to show improve myself. That's why I go back to Korea.
Okay. I mean, look, we've heard that story before. You know, people who go to the LPL have come back and try to, you know, become top player again. Was it disappointing then? Because the team you went to, obviously at the same exact time you went to do it, actually was when IgNar did the same thing. Obviously, he came back and he tried to also, you know, prove like we can be top players in Korea. Was this team disappointing then, the way the results went?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I disappointing for myself a lot, because I thought like I'm really good player. I can handle everyone, but I couldn't. And I mean, I didn't play really well at the time, so I'm disappointing myself. Yeah.
When you were in that team, though, an interesting detail, since you mentioned it earlier, is you got to play with Ghost, who obviously you said earlier back in CJ you were playing with, and then since then he went to join Damwon and got to win Worlds and he made stuff. Can you give me some thoughts on this player? Do you know him pretty well? Have you seen his whole career?
Yeah, I think he's really a smart player, and honestly, like I think he can go every team, and he can he can do well like on every team too. I think he's a really good, smart player and good player.
Basically, this season, Season 8, is the season a lot of people remember. Like, Korea doesn't win Worlds. You know, the Korean region wasn't as strong anymore. Like, even if Korea doesn't win Worlds, you expect, you know, 2 or 3 semi-finalists should be a Korean team. Like, this is just the way it always was many, many years. Can you give me some thoughts? When the game was different, when Tracker's Knife was in the game and a lot more about vision control, what do you think Korea was the best at? Why was Korea good for so long, do you think?
I think Korea best style is vision control, and they don't fight, and they're looking for macro wising a lot. But after Tracker Sniper is disabled, so I think they should change their style, but they keep side wising play style. So that's why they losing to many foreigner team. I mean, Europe or LPL.
Sure. I mean, do you also, like, similarly about the current way the game is played? That's something a lot of people on talk shows always say, is that Koreans, it's like they still think it was the Tracker's Knife period, and they always look for, like, the perfect fight. Like, oh, this is the one where we know, you know, we are 70% chance to win. But if you look how LPL plays, it is more like they just are willing to kind of, like, do a lot of gambles. They will gamble from very early in the game. Is there a reason you think Koreans just don't like this style? What is it they can't embrace about it?
I think many of Korean coach doesn't like gambling. They always looking for 100% winning condition fight. So that's why I think like at the time they are really bad. I mean, not really bad, but they are actually bad.
When you came back to Europe, you came and you were playing again in this time Schalke. And this was the team that people remember was like mainly known for Upset, was like the big name, you know. But IgNar came back with you. Do you have some kind of special friendship with IgNar? Is there a reason you went to these teams together?
Yeah, I mean, IgNar really like me, and I really like IgNar. We are actually good friends. That's why I joined Schalke. And I knew about Upset because of 2017 MSI. I mean, he came to G2 like as
He was the sub, right?
player.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So we are actually a friend, I think. So yeah, that's why I joined.
Can you explain a little bit about who IgNar is? Because he doesn't seem like a typical Korean player. Like, he has that very crazy playing style. He doesn't try to fit the meta, you know. Who is this guy?
I think IgNar, like everyone thinking about IgNar is only looking for fight or flanking, but he's like vision control like god. I think he's better than any other player. He know like when he should know when he should go base and control vision. Yeah, I think that is the most like good point about him.
In this team, even though a lot of people maybe weren't impressed by the names of the players and Schalke as a team, it's not considered a great team in history, you know. You had a very impressive result in the summer where you managed to come third overall. And a lot of people thought maybe you would go to Worlds. What do you think of this period of time? Like, what was the strengths of this team? Was it a good team?
Yeah, I think we are a really good team. I mean, although they have a really good experience, and Offset is really good player, and Abedage he was a rookie, but I think he was really good too. But I don't know, like I don't know why we lose, but yeah, maybe like kind of sucks about words. Yeah.
What do you think about the coach of this team, Dylan Falco? What was it like to work with him?
Oh, I really like Dylan Falco because he actually know league really well. I think like top 3 coach in my life, and yeah, I think he's really good about league, and yeah.
What are his strengths? Like, what area do you think he has a specialty in?
MP Guizing, I think he's really smart, but most player have a like wait, let's say sorry.
It's all right.
A pride, I think. So they don't care about coach talking, but I think he's really smart than Ben
Right. Okay. When you then went over to the SK Gaming team, this is a team where you are working with like some rookies. Basically, like the most experienced player was Crownshot, and he was a rookie the year before. Do you actually think, like, I've heard from some of your coaches that's one of the reasons they wanted you in some of these teams is like they want like an established player who can help like give experience to the younger players. Do you see this as your role?
Yeah, I think that's why they want me at the time. Yeah.
Do you actually enjoy that role? Do you like to be a mentor to the players?
I mean, in Schalke I did a lot, but SK I have so many players to help them, so I have a kind of like I mean I had a like hard time at that time.
Too many people to talk to, too many things to work on.
Yeah.
What did you think of this team overall, though? Because even though this team had, listen, it wasn't going to win the LEC, but obviously you were making the playoffs. People thought maybe there's a chance you could do some crazy upset. What were the strengths of this SK Gaming team?
After Jack's coach, he changed a lot of microizing, and he helped them a lot, and that's why we become a good. And I think like we have so much potential with the rookies, so that's why our strongest point. But at playoffs we don't have experience. Like so many experience, so I think that's why we lose in playoffs.
So okay, after you went to these other teams, Schalke still got a better result than people thought. SK Gaming make it into the playoffs. Like these are all still good results for the players you're playing with. Why is Trick not in LEC now? Why is he not in season 11?
Oh, because I have a problem with SK. I mean, I can't say anything about this.
Okay.
Yeah.
You couldn't go to a different team though?
I mean, I can't say. I mean,
Okay. What about this then? One day in the future, let's imagine whenever your contract ends, one day, will you continue trying to play? Will you join LEC or LPL or LCS? Will we see you play professionally again one day, you think?
I mean, I really want to play LEC like over and over. I really like LEC. Yeah.
What do you think
That's
of
my
the
new home.
Yeah, what do you think of the style of play of European teams?
I think European players, I think mid laners, everyone have a good potential. So that's why I think most team have a winning point, and I think macro rising is like worse than Korean team, but I think better than any other Asian team.
What do you think about when you play solo queue in Europe, though? Like, a lot of people who aren't from Europe think it's too harsh. You know, people are typing too many mean words to each other. What do you think?
I think soloq is worse than Korea, but Korea flaming more than Europe flaming. In
Sure.
chat.
If you know if you know how to read it, yeah, for sure. What about, do you think any of that stuff matters? Like, if you're a good player, are you supposed to not say anything in the chat? Does it matter if you're a good player?
Yeah, I think really it doesn't matter. Even you're a good player, I think you can talk a little bit. You can flame a little bit, I think.
Since I said earlier, when I've talked to some of your teammates, they were always talking about the fact that you're doing such a good job, you know, helping rookies, teaching people macro concepts, like how, you know, this is when I will come as the jungle, explaining things basically. It sounds like an obvious job for you one day. Should be coach. Would you like to be a coach in League of Legends?
Yeah, I mean, you can see my hair. I think after I go army, I think I will be a coach. But before army, I think hard to be coach.
Yeah, that's maybe something I should ask you about, because a lot of people in the West might not understand. They know that Koreans have to go to the army, but I know if you are like a pro gamer, you can give that as a reason and then you can kind of wait a few more years. Do you have to go soon? Is it like in the next year or two?
No, I think this year I will go, I think after July, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah,
and how long do you have to do it? 1 year?
1 year, 6 months.
Okay. But then after that, maybe is when you become a coach?
I mean, I really want to be a pro player, but if I don't have a chance, I want to be a coach.
Would you actually enjoy being a coach to be able to have power over the pick ban, to actually make sure the right champions get picked?
I don't want to be like power. I don't want to get the power about the benefit, but I want to get power about after game like feedback.
Do you still have any like special goal in League of Legends? Like, for example, one day do you want to go to LCK again? Do you want to win LEC again? Is there some goal that's driving you?
Actually, I want to be an MVP again, but I can't be an MVP now. So I want to go back to LEC after army. That's my goal now.
Okay. But you played with a lot of good players in a lot of different positions. Can you tell me, I know it might be hard, but for each position, who was the best player you played with?
All the G2, I think.
Just everyone. The whole team?
Yeah, whole team. Yeah, I think they are really good player, and we are actually family kinda. So yeah.
What do you think what were the strengths of this team? Like, obviously it was a very good team in playoff series. What was making this team strong?
G2, I mean all the G2?
Yes.
I think we feedback really well. Like we just blame them each other like every time. So I think we improve a lot over that, and that's why we become a really good player. And we were a good player too.
Is there a player in LEC you haven't played with that you would like to play with as a teammate? Is there someone stands out?
Now?
Yes.
I want to play with the humanoid. I think he's a really good player.
Oh, what has impressed you about him?
I don't know. Like when he was rookie, and he actually doing really aggressive, which is like Lucky can't do this, but when I see him, I can see like he has really good potential and he is really good player.
What about any other time in your career? Was there any other players in LEC who were like, we've got to get this guy for our team if we can?
Offset?
Okay. Before you played
Yeah.
with him?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it true? I've heard from some of his teammates he is a very demanding player. Like he is kind of like what people imagine an AD carry would be like. Like everyone just gank for me, give me all the resources, like give me my champion. Don't worry, I'll carry. I promise. Like, is he really like that?
Yeah, kind of, but he's a really good player. So I mean, I can give every my resource.
Right, okay. What is actually Perkz like as a mid laner? Because I know a lot of people, obviously he was playing AD carry, and a lot of people, they all think of Caps when they think of a mid laner. So what makes Perkz unique? Like, what are his strengths? What is he like as a player?
I think his strength is very like familiar personality. His personality really good with a pro player, good in pro player, because like I don't know, he like when he was in my team, I feel really great, and I can trust him like 100%, 100%. So yeah, his strength is personality and good, just good player.
When I said earlier there's that weird stat that he has never won the MVP, even though he's been so good, it's nearly always his junglers that win the MVP in his team. So does he have some special skill for working with junglers, you think?
Yeah, I think he sacrificed to jungler like kind of a lot. That's why every time me or Yankos is shining in G2.
Since you said that when Mithy came, he was kind of like the coach, this was a famous thing that people used to say. That's why actually it's no surprise he tried becoming a coach himself with Fnatic, now with Cloud9. But the problem with that comment is it made a lot of people look at the person who officially is the coach, which was Youngbuck, and think, oh, he doesn't do anything then. He just, brings water, or he's just a nice guy. What was that? What did Youngbuck do for the team? What was he like when he was with you?
You mean in G2?
Yes.
I think at that time he was like not good, but he actually learned a lot from players and mithy. And after 2016 Worlds, and he became a really good coach, I think. And he was a really good coach. But player have a pride, so they don't care.
Did you get along well with him?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like, I know a lot of people, again, if they don't know Koreans, maybe they don't know this, but in the Korean teams, it's usually a bit more like strict hierarchy. The coach is up here and he runs the team and he tells a player, he's not like asking as much, he's telling you what to do. Can you handle that kind of system? Because it must be very different in the European teams, right?
Yeah, it's super different. European team coach can't do like a LCK coach.
Is it the same even for things like pick ban? They have to like ask, do you want to play this? Or what do you want to play? Like, wouldn't the LCK coach kind of tell you, like, I need you to play this?
I mean, in CJ and BBQ Olivers, they don't say it to me like that. But I heard about other teams, and they say, what you saying?
Do you think that, because we hear these stories about how much LCK, LPL teams and players are practicing, even when they practice a lot in scrims, they're doing extra hours in solo queue afterwards. Is it true that European players are playing way, way less?
Yeah, it's for sure. Korea team I think almost Korea team has to play solo queue until 3 a.m. But European team after scrim, like kind of free. You can do whatever you want.
Did that matter to you? Because I've heard some Koreans, like, for example, that went to LCS, it was kind of depressing them, because if the team isn't winning, you look around and then you see your teammate, he's watching anime or he's playing some other game, Did you mind if your teammates don't practice as much?
I think my teammates are doing well, then I don't care about he watching anime or he doing other games.
Okay. Was there... what do you think if say someone is a fan and so at the moment you aren't playing, so they'd have to go and watch an old game? What would be a game, a special match that you played in that's like, this is when I was at my best. This is what peak Trick looks like. What match would you tell them to go watch to find out who you are?
2017 MSI probably was G2, I think.
Right, semi-final, yes.
Yeah, semi-final, yeah.
Well, tell me about this match then, because obviously not only did you guys make the final, but to beat a big LPL team at the time, this was an accomplishment for because your team had so many problems internationally. What was the significance of winning this match?
Well, before I actually lose my confidence because I didn't play really well in what score before the semi-final. So
right. Quarterfinal,
after quarterfinal. And after that, coach and players tell me like you're a good player, you're really good. And after that, I have really good confidence, and I'm play really well. And screen running, we always doing really well. I don't know why we're doing not good on international tournament. I actually don't know.
What I said earlier about like Koreans going to other teams, etc. One of the reasons why they very rarely ever came to European teams is firstly that they didn't used to be very much money. If you go for money, you obviously go to LCS. It just makes more sense. But I also heard that some Korean players, I know it's why some of them don't like to go to LPL. Like they just want to live in Korea. It's more comfortable. Their family is there. You got all the TV, everything. How do you seem like you're pretty happy living in Europe? Are you just a different type of Korean person? Are you unusual compared to the others?
Yeah, I think I'm different than other Koreans. I think that's why I'm happy on Europe life. And I don't know like any other peoples, but yeah, I was really happy in Europe.
Because the other thing is, like, I know now, obviously, like, you got expecting that team, and then in this other team you had IgNar. Like, do you not ever feel lonely? I know a lot of Korean people, they kind of like to have, to be able every day to talk to someone in Korean to find out what's going on. Do you not get lonely in Europe?
No, for me, I have many friends, like European friends, like Perkz or Sven, Perkz or mithy. So when I feel lonely, I just meeting them. So I was not lonely.
I also noticed as well, like you're saying there, over the years, even when you left teams and you weren't in the same team, you were often like duo queuing with some of your former teammates, etc. Do you like to keep your friendship with players that you play with? It's not just a pro thing only.
Yeah, I really like the keep doing friendship.
What about the role that you play? So one of the things I know a lot of my friends that are professional jungle players say is, even though it's already like kind of a stereotype that the jungler always complains about the other roles because every player on the map is telling him like, come to my lane now, please, you must come now, and obviously you can't do it, right? But the other thing they always complain about is every other role. Like, I'll give you an example. If someone plays mid lane and they know how to basically CS and then how to attack people in a team fight, they could for the rest of their life just play Orianna and Azir, and they could probably be a mid laner, right? It's not actually that crazy, like what you have to update over the years. But if you play jungle, every year Riot might actually change the entire game for you. Like the way the camps become different, and the pathing becomes different, and the champions become different. Like, do you like that aspect, or do you wish it stayed the same? What do you think?
I really like changing system because like I don't know, I really don't like playing like only one champ or two champs, and like I really like other people like new style or new jungler. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite meta? Like, was there a period that you thought was the best in jungle?
For me, I was really like great Nidalee Kindred meta. At that time, I think I was really good.
One of the things that people often say is that a lot of the Western players were never good on champions like Nidalee and Kindred. These are some of the ones that they had a hard time with compared to like LPL, for example. What do you think the secret to these champions is? Is there like a special way you have to think about them?
I don't think that they have a special, but I think you should kind of selfish. But I think most European jungler at that time doesn't have confidence or selfish playstyle.
Okay. Is there a player, like, of all the great Korean junglers, who in your opinion was the best? Was the one that you used to look up to and think this guy just knows it all about jungle?
My favorite is Score.
Right, yes, of course.
Yeah,
right.
I really like Score. I actually copy a lot of his playstyle because I thought he's doing really good macro-wizing or micro-wizing. And he's consistent. So that's why my favorite player was Scorer.
You don't mind that he's famous for always like having a bad time in the championship game, and it feels like he's unlucky, right? In Korea, they call that type of play like a Kong, like it just never works for them in the final somehow. This wasn't a problem.
No. I didn't have a problem with the international tournament too. So
true. Fair enough. Yeah. That's fair. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. At the end of this interview, do you have like a final message? Maybe there's someone you want to thank or say hello to.
Hello, LEC or LCK fans. After I go army, maybe I come back to esports scene. So keep cheering for me, and I hope I don't die in army.
Yeah, 감사합니다.
Yeah, 감사합니다. Thank you.
Oi! This video was kindly supported by Eddie, Chris with a K, Lager15, Pronogo, Shenlong, Zachary Carter, Zach Schmid, Adam Oaks, Alexander Rao, Animosity, Dean Tanglis, Doomsayer, Eric Hillestad, Hades, J Dubs, Jensen Gore, John Shelton, Joseph Ginsberg, Kovacevic, Tobias Bernasconi, Zumba, and Zyrathenia, and as always, special thanks go out to my main man, Jerky's Minion. Want to suggest a topic or a guest? Do you want to ask a question in one of those AMAs? Do you want teasers? See who the guests are? Maybe you want to take part and chat with me in one of those esports discussions. Well, for all of the above, put your money where your mouth is, join the Patreon link in the description box below, and become a part of the Skrilluminati.